Greetings, friends. Jawlesspaul, I mean, Death himself here. We're talking about some of the room options that you're going to run across in Have a Nice Death. And I wanted to rank them. Someone was asking me, you know, they felt a little bit lost, like which way do you go, which room or which floors do you choose when you're going through. So I thought I'd just rank them in my mind, what I'm looking for, how I kind of see each of these rooms, or how I think about them, I should say. And obviously it all depends on what you're doing in your run, but there are some kind of hard and fast rules that I go by. Take it with a grain of salt, but this is after a lot of experience playing the game, how I look at each room. Okay, we'll go ahead and just start. We'll start with Anima deposit. This is just going to provide you with a blue Anima. It might provide you with 2. This is a fairly mediocre room to take unless you're really in dire straits. You're about to die. And you need that Anima to save your life. I wouldn't go to the Anima department. So I'm going to put that, just leave that in B tier. Then there's the Premium Anima department. This one, I have found as many as 3 golden Anima, so that will completely refill your Anima slots if you have 3, and that is pretty good for reasons that I won't get into as well. It's especially good, so that's something that I might stick that up in A tier, just because it's pretty solid to get golden Anima. That's a nice way to get health back. It's more than just injuries, as I've said before. The blue Anima heal just the injury part, the gray part, but there's lots of ways to heal that. And there's not a lot of ways to heal missing health. So that's what the golden Anima is for. So I'm going to raise that up to A tier, a little bit more valuable. Next, we got Cloak store. So this is where you would find weapons that are the cloak items. They have cooldowns. They're affected by the red curses more so than the green curses. I would say that cloak items are generally not as good as spells. There are some spells in the game that will almost completely make the run trivial. They will heal you, they will seek out enemies for you, and I don't know of any cloak items that do that. So I'm actually going to leave the cloak store in the B tier as well. It's going to be more valuable, but it's not that amazing. Cloak items right now are good. They do a lot of damage, but they're not as strong as, there's not as much potential when you go to a cloak store than when you go to the spell stores. Okay, next we have the control room. Now the control room is where you go to upgrade your spells, your cloak items, and your scythe, or to level up your scythe, or to change the form of your scythe using Prismium. This is an incredibly important floor to go to. I would say you want to be ready with plenty of Solery and plenty of Prismium when you get to your first control room. Usually you see your first control room at the end of Act 2. So this is an extremely important room. S tier for sure. So many of the spells and cloak items get so much better when you upgrade them to level 1, 2, and 3. Especially when you get up to level 3, there's some that just are crazy good. So that's going to be up in S tier. All right, this is Curse Reroll department. This is basically for when you go to Tosha and he's offering you a curse. How many rerolls do you have? Typically, it only provides you with 1 reroll when you go into this floor. So I don't think it's that amazing. I'm going to put it in C tier. It's fine, but it's not that amazing, and it doesn't do all that much for you. Rerolling is a good idea when you have a reroll to do, but I wouldn't say that it's all that valuable. All right, next we have the equipment storage. This is going to provide you with either a spell or a cloak item. Maybe it'll have 2, but you don't know if you're going to get a cloak item or a spell. Like I said about spells before and cloak items, spells are just so good in this game that I'm gonna, just the fact that you can find them in addition to cloak items, I'm gonna put that in A tier, higher than Anima. It's just that good to get a spell that's going to potentially play the game for you. Not play the game for you, but you know what I mean. They seek out enemies, and that is a huge deal. I guess there is one cloak item, the fire bow, seeks out enemies, but otherwise it kind of feels like the other cloak items just really don't compare. Anyway, next we have Hazardous floor. Now the Hazardous floor basically just means that it's a floor that has a crapshoot of items. It's going to have lots of like those rooms that you can't escape until you kill all the enemies. And at the end of each of those, there will be some kind of a reward. It could be a weapon. It could be more mana or health. It could be Solery, Prismium. It could be anything. It's kind of just like whatever you get. But it's kind of like you're guaranteed to get maybe more items than you would in a normal floor. So I'll leave it in B just because it's just, you have no idea what you're going to get, but you could potentially get a lot of things. I kind of want to do a little bit more testing with this. It could be that hazardous floors are some of the best because you can find lots more things, right? So you kind of can get stronger faster, a little bit speedier, I guess, with more items. Intriguing floor. If you've been to these intriguing floors, they basically are like a dexterity test or a speed test or something. I like the idea of them. Typically, you don't know what the reward's going to be. At least I have. I mean, sometimes you get a Prismium at the end of it if you're successful, and that's great. Obviously, like who doesn't want a Prismium? But a lot of them, it's very difficult, very difficult to do, and so it ends up at worst. It's just like a free floor where you don't take any damage, but you just get through the floor and get closer to the boss, but you maybe don't get any stronger. So that's fine, that's whatever. I'll put that at the bottom of B tier, I guess. I don't know. Okay, this is the mana department. So increasing your total mana, and usually you find 1, so it increases your mana by 10. That's not amazing. However, do you remember what I said about spells? I said spells were really strong, and I meant it. Now, a lot of times the best spells that can kind of win the game for you, some of them don't really require all that much mana, like Vladislaw or Sacrifix. You just need to be able to push the button one time to get the benefit, especially the one, like the lasting benefit, the one that actually, like the ultimate. You just need to push that and then get the healing or get the max health upgrade. So mana is good. It's not as good as some other things. It's just that you don't get that much of it. All right, Prismium floor guarantees that you find Prismium on this floor. Obviously, if you don't know what Prismium is like the premium currency. You can level up any weapon or scythe to the next level with a single Prismium always. So whether it's level 1 or level 3, that's all it costs. That makes Prismium extremely valuable. It costs like 250 Solery to level up a weapon from level 2 to 3, but it only takes 1 Prismium. So Prismium has just gotten more and more valuable as they keep making Solery less and less valuable, I guess, right? Okay, this is the relaxation area. Basically, you get a coffee, which is a pure heal, so it heals missing health. This is good. It's kind of like I would put this in the equivalent of getting Anima, and maybe a little bit better since you don't have to fight any enemies for it. It's just a free room. Not much to say there about that. It's good. It's a good place to go, especially if you're low health or if you need some missing health covered. But if you want to get stronger, it's not going to do that. It's just going to heal your health. And if you're at full health, obviously it's useless. The shop. So in the shop, you can buy a variety of different items. You can buy weapons or spells. You can buy Prismium. Usually you can buy Prismium for Solery at a really nice rate, like usually like 75 Solery for a Prismium, which is an incredible deal. You should always buy Prismium if you have enough to buy it. You can buy curses. And curses are 75 Solery, which is maybe a little bit spendy, but it's worth it. In this game, the more curses that you can get, the better. You're just going to get way stronger, and that's important. It's important to be strong in this game. I'm going to put this maybe at the bottom of S tier. It's a very, very good room. You can also sell your weapons, so like in that spare slot that you keep in your inventory, you can sometimes get a good amount of Solery or even a Prismium for upgraded or leveled up items that you're no longer using. Okay, that's where it goes. Okay, Solery. This floor guarantees that you'll find some Solery. However, from what I can tell, it doesn't really give you that much Solery, not that much more than you would normally. I mean, normally you find some Solery on every floor, right? Some enemies drop like a handful. Sometimes you find those little deposits, but you're guaranteed to find one of the bigger deposits of Solery, but it's really just not that much. It's really not that much that you find. So I'm gonna put that at the bottom of B tier. Maybe it's above. It's above these intriguing floors, I think, because at least you're guaranteed to find some more of that resource, which can be very good, especially in the shop. Prismium Solery floors are, you don't know if you're just going to find some Solery, which would be very, very mediocre, or if you'll find a Prismium, which would be very, very good. It's pretty good. I'm going to put it in A just because of that chance to get Prismium. I often would look at that and I'd say, you know what? If I find a Prismium, that's going to be huge. It's going to make a big, big difference. Next we have Spell Store. As I said before, spells are incredibly powerful. There are a lot of them, so you're not guaranteed to get something good, but there are a lot of really good spells. A lot of really good spells. And I talk about it a little bit in my full guide video, which I'll link at the end of this one, but I'm gonna put the spell store in the S tier. Maybe that's a little crazy, but it's just that good to find a good spell. It can make or break a run for sure. Very, very valuable. Tosha. So this is where you find curses. Now you find curses in other parts of the game too. Like you find a curse after you fight Vanagers, and you also get a curse after you fight Sorrows, which are the bosses at the end of levels. You really just want to get a lot of curses. I can't emphasize this enough, how valuable curses are. I'd say they're not, some of them are game breaking. I might put this like even above. Well, no, I mean, the shop gives you a curse, but this will give you a curse without having to spend any money. I'll put it up here. It's an S tier. It's a very, very good. I will almost always choose one of these rooms if it's offered to me. Obviously, if I already have my spells in place, then maybe I won't want to go to the spell room. And then usually like the control room or the shop are paired against each other, so you have to choose one or the other. So obviously it's not a direct comparison. Vanager floors. So this is where you fight the little mini bosses in the middle of a zone or a biome or whatever. These are great because they give you a curse if you beat them, but some of these Vanagers are ridiculously difficult. RJ Baron is one that like consistently kills me. He's the guy that comes out of the sewer, and his moves, for some reason, I can't seem to understand how they work. They just seem to hit me no matter what I do, which is very annoying. But obviously if you figure out what the Vanagers do, you can beat them fairly easily. So I'm gonna put it in A tier, but just know that it gives you a curse, and a curse is super, super strong. They are dangerous though, right? Take that into consideration. Could end the run for you, which would be a bummer. Next we have the Vault. Is that what it's called? The Vault? I'll put it on the screen, whatever it is. But this is basically, my understanding from when I've done, I've tested it a few times. It pretty much gives you ingots, which at the beginning of the game, when you're first playing and you're trying to buy things, you do want ingots. But here's the thing, you'll find ingots anyway. It does give you more ingots, which is good, but I don't know. I'm gonna put this down in C tier. It's not gonna help you get farther in the game. It's just going to help you, once you've died, you have more currency to spend with. But better than finding more currency during your run is to get farther in your run and get currency that way. Because at the end of your run, when you die, you'll get a bunch of ingots for how far you progressed. So that's maybe a better way to do it than to get ingots in the vaults, but you decide for yourself whether you like that. All right, next we have the Vitam department. So this can give you about 10 health or more. It might give you more, but it's guaranteed to at least give you 10 health while you're on that floor. And 10 health is good. You want to get lots of health. That's a good idea, but it's really not that strong. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think maybe I'll just put it just right in front of Solery, because it's not that amazing. You'll find health in other ways, and there are better ways to get bonus health too. It's nice. There's no question it's nice to have more health. But okay, and then this is the Vitam mana department. So it's kind of like how there's the equipment storage where you can find either a spell or a cloak item. This is similar. You can find either a mana boosting item or a Vitam to increase your mana or health by 10. So you don't know if you're getting 10 mana or 10 health. it's sort of like a question mark, but I'm gonna at least put it one ahead of Vitam because you have a chance of getting mana. And not all runs need mana, I get it. This is generalized. Some people feel like, I can't say that it's always gonna be that this is a better floor than say Solery, right? Like I might take Solery over that floor. But generally speaking, Solery, especially after, with the new release, they've made Solery very much less valuable than it used to be. Anyway, that's all of the potential floors. Obviously, there's the Sorrow floor. The Sorrow floor is where you fight the final boss, but you don't have an option there. There's no other choices. You just have to fight them. So that's my take. What do you think? Do you like what I chose here? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments below. What would you adjust? Is there anything that you would adjust here? Maybe I'll make a video talking about the different choice, like the different biome choices that you have. Like you can choose between the industrial waste or the toxic food. You can choose between the addictions or the health. Those are kind of the two choices that you have. And usually you just want to choose the one that's going to give the curses that will benefit you, right? So if you've got spells, you want to go to the green zones. If you've got cloak items or you're using the scythe a lot, you want to go to the red zones. But that's about it. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate it. This is Death signing off. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Or should I say rest in peace.